Well, good evening and welcome to another Total Immersion Swim Academy webinar or a TI Swim Mastery webinar. And our topic this evening is how to be more efficient, fitter, and faster, how to integrate technique and training. And this, uh, this topic came from a question I got from Mary Secco on one of our, Coach Mary Secco on one of our previous webinars. And so let me go to my first slide so we can begin. All right, so this is the first of what I plan as 4 webinars. Um, the one we're doing today is taking the long view. So in other words, over the long term or the lifetime of your development of a swimmer, how to look at your lifetime development as a swimmer. The next webinar in this series will be how to plan a year, a season, or a training cycle. The third in the series will be how to plan a practice, so we'll keep coming down to a more granular level. And then finally, the fourth will be how to plan a task or a set. So we'll start by just examining Total Immersion's way of thinking about training. Way back when I wrote the original TI book, and even before that, I used to use the phrase that you should think of conditioning as something that happens while you practice skills. And of course, this is different from the way it's traditionally been viewed, which is that conditioning was the main thing going on, and not something that was incidental to a more important objective, which was improving your skills. Then in the late 90s at workshops, we gave a training talk on Sunday at our workshops, and I contrasted the traditional definition of endurance, which is the ability to do work, with a new definition that's specific to the kind of swimming that we advocate you practice, and that is endurance is your ability to swim efficiently, to maintain efficient strokes for as far as you wish to swim and at the pace at which you wish to swim. And that's specific again. If you're swimming an easy 200, that's going to be less demanding than swimming a fast-paced 400 or 800, for instance. So you would need a different level of endurance for each. But the key idea is that you have the ability to maintain efficient strokes for that distance and pace. And then finally, what is the purpose of practice? Well, the one we always talk about is that every single practice, the number one goal you should have in mind is that in the time that you're in the water that you're going to improve your swimming. And I've been really consistent in my thinking about this for many years. Every time I stand at the edge of the pool or a body of water, my first thought is that when I get out, I'm going to be a better swimmer than I was when I got in, or that somewhere, sometime during my swim, I'm going to do something better than I've ever done it before. And I said on a previous webinar that when I stood on the rocks in Tarifa, Spain, back on October 11th, preparing to swim with Leonard Larson and Tame Patila, my 2 TI colleagues, across Gibraltar Strait, I definitely had a goal for that swim, that I was going to be a better swimmer when I got to Morocco on the other side. In particular, my ability to keep good control on my catch in rough water as I took a breath. So always have the idea that your goal is to improve your swimming. The second is, when I coached age group swimmers, I would often ask them when they showed up at the pool, why are you here? And some of them would say, because my mom just dropped me off. And some of them would say, I'm here to get in better shape. And then I would always respond to that. The reason you are here is to practice the skills that win races. So this is, you could think of these as words to live by and to reflect, refer back to whenever you have a question. All right, so moving on to the next slide. Um, so the question of um, why are we even talking about the fact that you can integrate technique and training and do it completely? I think a starting point for that is a traditional view of workouts, and I have had 50 years of exposure to them. I did them for many years before I was coaching. I actually went through all the way through college swimming without ever doing a single technique set. By the time I was a couple of years into college, I was aware that I needed to think about technique, but there was never actually in all of my college swimming, all of my high school swimming, um, there was never a set in any of those workouts that was devoted specifically to technique. When I became a coach and I became aware of what other coaches did, the workout plan that you see here was a pretty much the one everyone followed. They went according to kind of a motto. You would often hear these phrases: "Get the yards in, get your heart rate up." That was what you were supposed to do in a workout. So there would be a warm up, a kick set, a pull set, a main set, another set, and often this would be what coaches actually referred to as garbage yardage. It had no particular purpose other than to add to the yardage total. This is how important everybody thought the yardage total was, and it just amounted basically to busy work. Um, Technique work, that might happen maybe at the end of practice. They would throw in a 10-minute drill set, usually without um, giving much detail, much instruction about the drills, just sort of thinking it was something to check off. And that if you did drills, probably it was better than not doing drills. But there was not no rigor, no exactitude about how the drills should be done, what their purpose was, what you should think about, and so on. It was just sort of this faith that if you did some drills, you were kind of covering the technique checkoff. But it was definitely an afterthought and something divorced from training. So when Total Immersion introduced the idea of swimming that was really skill-based, where the primary objective of what you did was to improve your skills, and people became acquainted with TI often through attending a workshop, a weekend workshop, or getting a DVD, and there were drills. We taught drills at workshops, and there were drills on the DVD and so on. And people, I think, and to this day, I think it's still the case for a lot of people, um, struggle a little bit with feeling that drills are not something separate, um, where you've got somewhat conflicting objectives. So in drills, we're aiming for perfection. Some people have had the idea, and I know I sort of promoted it in the original book, and I'm going to be talking differently about it tonight, that you just do drills and almost nothing but drills for months, uh, and that during that time you might do some swimming, but you are worried a little bit. Is it risky to swim? Are you risking the gains you made in technique if you swim and your stroke is not perfect? Um, and then you've got the training, which, if you want to swim a long distance, if you want to swim faster, and so on, you need training. But maybe if you are a pretty serious TI swimmer and you really believe, as I do, in the importance of swimming with good technique, you ask yourself, how much imperfection can I allow to occur in my whole stroke swimming, because I need to swim farther, I need to swim faster. I sense that my efficiency, my technique probably is going to break down some. So how much imperfection is okay as I swim longer or harder? So tonight we want to start solving that conundrum.